Kenny Rogers, the superstar pitcher, had a memorable career. If not for the assault on the cameraman leading to a suspension, he might have been inducted into the legendary Hall of Fame. Before we dive in any further, please subscribe to the channel. In 2005, while Rogers was playing for the Texas Rangers, things didn't go his way during a rough game. On June 23rd, after a disappointing start, he was pulled from the game earlier than expected. Frustrated by his performance, he lashed out in the dugout, angrily striking a water bucket. Unfortunately, this moment of frustration had serious consequences, as he ended up fracturing his left hand in the process. It was a tough blow during an already difficult time in his season. Even after breaking his hand, Rogers' frustration didn't go away. Just days later, on June 29, 2005, things took a turn for the worse. As he walked onto Americas Field for a pregame warm-up against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Rogers snapped. In a fit of anger, he shoved two cameramen who were recording him. One of the cameras hit the ground, but the cameraman quickly picked it back up and continued filming. This only fueled Rogers' rage further. He grabbed the camera, threw it down again, and even kicked it. A teammate had to step in and lead Rogers away from the situation, and soon after, the Texas Rangers sent him home. The assaulted cameraman, Larry Rodriguez, who worked for the Dallas-Worth Metroplex Fox affiliate KDFW, ended up going to the hospital. He reported feeling pain in his shoulder, arm, and leg, and while there, he officially filed an assault complaint against Rogers. 2 days after the incident, MLB Commissioner Bud Selig handed down a 20-game suspension and a $50,000 fine for Rogers. While Rogers appealed the suspension, he still showed up at the All-Star game in Detroit. Despite the appeal, Selig upheld the suspension. However, independent arbiter Sham Das later stepped in and reduced the punishment, allowing Rogers to return to play after missing 13 games. On July 18, 2005, Rogers faced legal consequences as well. He was charged with 2 misdemeanor assault charges, a Class A charge for the incident with Rodriguez, and a Class C charge for another cameraman, David Mamelli, from FSN Southwest. Rogers was released on a $1,500 bond. He later completed an anger management course, which led to the Class A charge being reduced to a Class C. The drama didn't end there. On October 5, 2005, Rodriguez filed a civil suit against both Rogers and the Rangers, seeking monetary damages. The 2006 World Series was a defining moment in Rogers' career, bringing him into the national spotlight. That year, the Detroit Tigers had an impressive season, racking up 95 wins and securing a spot in the American League wildcard. This success was thanks to solid performances from key players like Ivan Rodriguez, Curtis Granderson, Maglio Ordonez, and standout rookie Justin Verlander. Rogers, despite being 41 years old, played a crucial role in their success with his fierce competitive spirit. The Tigers exceeded expectations, especially when they stunned the New York Yankees, widely considered the strongest team at the time, in the division series. They carried that momentum into the American League Championship Series against the Oakland Athletics, where Ordonez sealed their trip to the World Series with a dramatic walk-off home run in Game 4. For Rogers, 2006 was a special year. He managed to win 17 games during the regular season, a remarkable feat for a veteran player nearing the end of his career. When the Tigers faced the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series, Rogers took the mound in Game 2, with Detroit already trailing 0-1 in the series. He pitched brilliantly, becoming the oldest pitcher to win a World Series game. However, the victory was overshadowed by controversy. After the game, a photo emerged showing a mysterious substance on Rogers' pitching hand. Speculation quickly spread. Was it pine tar, an illegal substance often used by pitchers to improve grip, or just rosin, which is legal? Rogers claimed it was simply dirt from the mound, saying he washed it off and continued pitching cleanly from the second inning onward. But many were skeptical, noting that dirt usually doesn't stick to a pitcher's hand in that way. The controversy cast a shadow over his performance, and suspicions of illegal pitching lingered. Following the scandal, the Tigers' momentum seemed to disappear. They lost 3 consecutive games, and the Cardinals, who had won just 83 regular season games, went on to claim the World Series title, the team with the fewest wins to ever do so. After the infamous soiled hand incident, Rogers never quite returned to his 2006 form. His career gradually wound down, and he retired from Major League Baseball in 2008, leaving behind a legacy of both brilliance and controversy. Then came the perfect game that made him the star he is.
Kenny Rogers was a 17-game winner during the regular season. Made one start against the Cardinals here in June. The Tigers came back and won it.
As Rogers warmed up in the bullpen that day, he could still feel a bit of tightness in his shoulder. It wasn't perfect, but he felt good enough to pitch. Rogers knew he wasn't going to overpower the Los Angeles Angels, but something felt different. His curveball was razor sharp, and he was ready to compete. Still, he never imagined how the game would unfold. "I never expected to throw a no-hitter, let alone a perfect game," Rogers later admitted. "No pitcher goes into a game thinking they have that kind of stuff. I didn't think I had it that day." The game started with a bit of uncertainty. Rogers fell behind 3-1 to Angels leadoff hitter Chad Curtis, but battled back, striking him out looking. Next up was Spike Owen, who grounded out easily. Then came Jim Edmonds, who worked Rogers to a full count. On the payoff pitch, Rogers painted the corner for another strikeout. In the Rangers broadcast booth, Eric Nadell noticed right away that the home plate umpire, Ed Bean, had an expanded strike zone. The Angels seemed to pick up on it too, and started swinging more aggressively. Meanwhile, the Rangers' offense was already heating up. In the bottom of the first, Jose Canseco put Texas on the board with a 2-out solo home run. After that, a walk to Will Clark and singles by Juan Gonzalez and Dean Palmer extended the lead to 2-0. Rogers took the mound again, now with some run support, and he felt more confident. "The guys got me some early runs, and that allowed me to go right after their hitters," Rogers said. "I got ahead in the count and threw strikes with my curveball, which made it harder for them to sit on my fastball or changeup." In the third inning, Palmer made a tough play on a grounder hit by Gary DeSargina, diving to his left and firing the ball to first for the out. Rogers had now retired 9 straight Angels, and the Rangers' offense kept the pressure on, with back-to-back homers from Ivan Rodriguez and Canseco, giving them a comfortable 4-0 lead. By the 5th inning, Rogers was cruising. JT Snow worked the count to 3-0, but Rogers battled back, inducing a fly ball to retire him. The tension in the ballpark began to build, and by the 7th inning, the crowd was on their feet, aware that they might be witnessing something special. With every pitch, the cheers grew louder. But in the dugout, Rogers' teammates didn't say a word to him. A superstitious tradition meant to avoid jinxing a perfect game. "I don't think anyone said anything to me after the 4th inning," Rogers recalled. "It was like I had the plague or something." In the 8th, Rogers faced the heart of the Angels lineup. Chili Davis lined out to left field, and Rogers then struck out Bo Jackson and Snow. Now with 24 straight batters retired, Rogers was just 3 outs away from the 5th no-hitter in Rangers history and only the 14th perfect game in Major League history. The first batter in the 9th inning was Rex Hudler, the Angels' talkative second baseman. "I was telling the fans in the first few rows that I was going to get him," Hudler told reporters afterward. "I wanted to ruin his perfect game. I was going to hit some ugly little blooper that would drive everyone crazy." Rogers started Hudler off with 2 sharp curveballs for strikes, then came back with a fastball on 0-2. Hudler made contact, sending a soft liner toward a shallow right center field. It looked like trouble, but outfielder Rusty Greer got an incredible jump on the ball. "I knew I was going to have to dive for it," Greer said. "As I got closer, I just thought, I'm going to catch this. And as soon as I left my feet, I knew I had it." Greer's diving catch was one of the most memorable defensive plays in Rangers history. With that, Rogers was just 2 outs away from perfection. Chris Turner was next, and Rogers induced a routine grounder to shortstop. That left DeSarcina, a veteran player with 12 years in the big leagues and a 1995 All-Star selection. On a 0-1 pitch, DeSarcina lined a ball to center field. "I thought I got it pretty good," DeSarcina later said, "but it was hit right at Greer, who momentarily lost the ball in the background before regaining sight of it. Greer reached up and made the catch, sealing the perfect game." Rogers, the 39th round draft pick who had spent 7 long years in the minors and 5 more seasons proving himself as a starter, had achieved baseball immortality with a perfect game. The Rangers had an off day the following Monday, and Rogers flew to New York to appear on Late Night with David Letterman. However, baseball can be humbling, and Rogers lost his next 2 starts, giving up 13 runs in just 10 innings. Soon after, on August 12th, the players' strike began, ending the season early. The Rangers were 52-62 at the time, still clinging to a half-game lead in the AL West. But when the season was called off in mid-September, there would be no postseason or World Series for the first time in 90 years. Rogers graduated from Plant City High School in Florida in 1982, where he only played baseball during his senior year. Despite his limited experience, he made an impact, hitting .375 as a right fielder, though he had played shortstop in his senior league. That same year, Rogers caught the attention of scouts and was selected by the Texas Rangers in the 39th round of the 1982 Major League Baseball draft. He signed with the team for just $1,000, a modest amount by today's standard. Though Rogers had been an outfielder, The Rangers saw potential in his strong throwing arm and the advantage of him being left-handed, so they decided to convert him into a pitcher. It wasn't an overnight success story. Rogers spent 7 long years working his way through the minor leagues, honing his skills and learning the craft of pitching. Finally, in 1989, he got his break and was called up to the Rangers as a relief pitcher. By 1993, Rogers had proven himself enough to make the transition to a starting pitcher, beginning a new chapter in his career that would ultimately lead to Major League stardom. After pitching a perfect game that follows the players' union strike, his stint with Texas Rangers came to an end. In 1996, Rogers joined the New York Yankees, hoping to make an impact with his new team. However, his performance that season was not as strong as he or the Yankees had hoped. He finished with a 12-8 record and a 4.68 ERA, numbers that were solid but far from spectacular. To add to the disappointment, Rogers struggled in the postseason, failing to deliver when it mattered most. Despite his personal challenges on the mound, Rogers still ended the season with a World Series championship ring, thanks to the standout performances of his teammates. On November 18, 1997, Rogers was traded from the New York Yankees to the Oakland Athletics in exchange for third baseman Scott Brosius. Rogers quickly became a key part of Oakland's pitching rotation. In his first season with the A's, he led the team in both innings pitched, racking up an impressive 238.7 and wins with 16 victories to his name. However, the following season didn't go as smoothly for Rogers. While he made 19 starts for Oakland in 1998, his performance dipped. He managed only 5 wins and posted a 4.30 ERA, a noticeable drop from his previous success. As the season approached the trade deadline, the Athletics decided to move in a different direction, and Rogers was dealt to the New York Mets. On July 23, 1999, Rogers was traded by the Oakland Athletics to the New York Mets in exchange for Leo Vasquez and Terrence Long. Though his time with the Mets was brief, Rogers made an impact during the regular season, starting 12 games and posting a solid 5-1 record with a 4.03 ERA. His contributions helped the Mets push for a playoff spot, and they ultimately made it to the National League Championship Series against the Atlanta Braves. However, despite his regular season success, Rogers' most memorable and controversial moment in a Mets uniform came during Game 6 of the 1999 NLCS. With the Mets facing elimination, the game went into extra innings, and Rogers was called upon to pitch in the 11th inning. Unfortunately, things unraveled for him in the most dramatic fashion. With the bases loaded and 2 outs, Rogers issued a walk to Andruw Jones, allowing the Braves to score the winning run on a walk-off walk. The walk ended the Mets season and sent the Braves to the World Series, leaving Mets fans with a bittersweet memory of Rogers' time with the team. Following that tough postseason loss, Rogers became a free agent at the end of the 1999 season. Though his time away earned him a World Series ring, Rogers was always at his best when he threw for Texas Rangers. Rogers had 2 stints with the Texas Rangers, first from 2000 to 2002, and then again from 2004 to 2005. Over the course of his time with the Rangers, he compiled an impressive career record of 133 wins and 96 losses, along with a solid 4.16 ERA and 201 strikeouts. Rogers really shined during his second run with the team, especially in 2004, when he had what many consider to be the best season of his career. At the age of 39, Rogers achieved remarkable success, finishing the season with an 18-9 record. His outstanding performance earned him a well-deserved spot in the All-Star Game, where he showcased his skills on a national stage. In addition to that honor, he also received a Gold Glove Award, recognizing him as one of the best defensive pitchers in the league. It was a season that many fans and analysts remember fondly, as Rogers proved that age was just a number, continuing to perform at a high level. Rogers continued to demonstrate his talent even after leaving the Rangers. In 2006, at 41 years old, he joined the Detroit Tigers and had another impressive season, finishing with a record of 17 wins and 8 losses. His performance that year caught the attention of many, and he ultimately finished 5th in the American League Cy Young voting. This was a significant achievement for Rogers, as it marked the only time in his career that he placed in the top 5 for this prestigious award. His journey through the MLB was a testament to his skill and perseverance, showcasing his ability to compete at a high level well into his 40s. On March 30, 2007, ESPN reported that Rogers would be out for 3 months due to surgery he needed for a blood clot in his pitching shoulder. It was a tough setback, but he worked hard during his recovery and made his comeback on June 22nd against the Atlanta Braves. In that game, he really impressed everyone by pitching 6 scoreless innings and giving up just 2 hits. It was a great way to mark his return as he earned his first win of the season that day. In 2008, Rogers was honored with a Fielding Bible Award, recognizing him as the best fielding pitcher in Major League Baseball. Rogers decided to stop playing at the end of the 2008 season. By that time, he had achieved a remarkable milestone, finishing his career with 218 victories. Interestingly, he became the 7th player in baseball history to win over 200 games without ever having a 20-win season. He joined a notable group that included Milt Pappas, Jerry Roos, Frank Tanana, Charlie Howe, Dennis Martinez, and Chuck Finley. Tim Wakefield would later join this group after reaching his 200th win in 2011. Mike Mussina also hit the 200-win mark, but he managed to achieve a 20-win season afterward. In 2010, after stepping away from playing, Rogers took on a new role as a pitching coach for the Detroit Tigers during spring training. On August 6, 2011, Rogers was honored by being inducted into the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame, a fitting recognition for his contributions to the team. Later that year, he had the opportunity to throw out the ceremonial first pitch at Comerica Park during Game 3 of the American League Division Series. Interestingly, despite stepping away from the game, Rogers never formally announced his retirement from Major League Baseball. That is it for this one. But if you happen to like MLB Legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel, Baseball Icons. I'm sure you will love it. Oh, and while you are at it, drop a comment telling us who to cover next, and don't forget to subscribe.